They said the wind only listens to God, that it has no master, no friend, no voice it obeys. But in a quiet village, hidden far beyond the red roads and dry fields, there lived a boy who proved them wrong. His name was Kola, and from the day he was born, the wind never left him. Kola was not like the other children in the village of Abini. While the others ran barefoot through the dusty paths, chasing goats and laughing loudly, Kola preferred silence. He would sit for hours under the old Iroko tree at the edge of the village, watching leaves fall, listening, not just hearing the wind, but listening to it. People thought he was strange. Some said he was slow. Others said he was cursed. But his mother simply watched, because deep down, she knew something was different about her son. One evening, when Kola was about 7 years old, everything changed. The sun was setting, painting the sky in deep orange and gold. The air was calm, too calm. Kola sat alone, drawing shapes in the sand with a stick. Then, softly, almost like a whisper, he spoke. "Come." It wasn't loud. It wasn't even clear. But something heard him. The leaves around him trembled. At first, it was small, barely noticeable, a soft movement. But then the wind began to gather. Dust lifted from the ground. Dry leaves spun in circles around him. Kola froze. His heart began to race. He hadn't moved. He hadn't shouted. Yet the wind was responding. He stood up slowly, and for the first time, fear entered his heart. "Stop," he whispered. And just like that, the wind stopped. That night, Kola did not sleep. He lay awake, staring at the roof of their small hut, listening to every sound, every breath of air. Was it real? Or was it just his imagination? The next day, he returned to the same spot, same tree, same silence. He closed his eyes. And again, he whispered, "Come." This time, the wind came faster, stronger. It wrapped around him like an invisible force, lifting dust and leaves into the air. Kola opened his eyes in shock. It was real. But he wasn't the only one who noticed. From a distance, his mother stood watching. Her face was still, but her eyes were filled with fear. In villages like Abini, nothing stays hidden for long. By the next week, people had started talking. "The boy is not normal. I saw the wind follow him. This is not a gift. This is something else." The elders gathered under the big tree. Old men with deep wrinkles and heavy voices. They spoke in low tones, serious tones. "This is not natural," one of them said. "No child should command what belongs to the gods." Kola didn't understand. He didn't feel evil. He didn't feel cursed. All he felt was connected to the wind. Days passed, and his power grew. At first, it was just small gusts, then stronger winds, then something more. He could feel it before it came. The movement of air, the shift of the sky. It was like the wind was speaking to him, without words. But the village had... One afternoon, everything changed. Kola was practicing near the fields, trying to control the wind, to shape it, to understand it. Then suddenly, a strong gust escaped his control. It swept across the village. Dust filled the air. Roof shook. Children screamed. It lasted only a few seconds, but it was enough. That evening, the villagers came, not with questions, but with anger. "You will leave this place." One man shouted, "You bring danger to us." Another yelled. Kola stood there, confused, scared. "I didn't mean to," he tried to speak, but they didn't listen. His mother stepped forward, tears in her eyes, but she said nothing, because she knew. There was nothing she could say. That night, Kola left the village, alone. No bag, no food, just the sound of the wind following him. He walked deep into the forest, far from the voices, far from the fear. And there, for the first time, he stopped running. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, Kola began to understand. The wind was not something to control. It was something to become one with. He stopped forcing it. stopped commanding it. Instead, he listened. And the more he listened, the more it obeyed. Then one day, the sky changed. Dark clouds gathered above Abini. Thick, heavy, angry. The wind returned. But this time, it was not gentle. Back in the village, fear spread quickly. Roofs began to shake. Trees bent violently. The sky roared with thunder. This was not an ordinary storm. People ran. Children cried. The same villagers who once shouted at Kola now prayed for help. Far in the forest, Kola felt it. Before he saw it, before he heard it, he felt the storm. And in that moment, he understood. This was bigger than him, bigger than fear. He stood up slowly, closed his eyes, and for the first time, he didn't whisper. He spoke. Enough. The wind around him stopped, completely. Then he walked back to the village that rejected him. The storm was at its peak when he arrived. Chaos everywhere. People screaming. Houses falling apart. Kola stepped forward. Into the storm. The wind roared, as if challenging him. But this time, Kola didn't fear it. He raised his hand. And with a voice stronger than ever before, he said, "Stop." For a moment, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the wind slowed. The dust dropped. The air became still. The storm stopped. Just like that, silence filled the village. Heavy, deep, unbelievable silence. The people stared at him. The same boy they called cursed. The same boy they chased away. But now, they saw something else. Not fear, power, respect. Kola looked around. At the broken huts. At the frightened faces. At his mother, standing in the distance. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He simply turned and walked away, because he understood something they didn't. The wind was never his to own. It only chose him, because he listened. And sometimes, the ones we call different, the ones we push away, the ones we don't understand, are the very ones sent to save us. And from that day on, whenever the wind passed through Abini, people no longer feared it. They remembered him, the boy who spoke to the wind.